Hey guys, Mike here. So, oh boy, there is a sell button. I don't believe it on Tesla. It's amazing. And some of these other stocks and everything. And I love watching people flip out and like, oh my goodness, how low can it go? And it's like, guys, we're going to get into the charts, but understand when a gamma squeeze happens, and this is why I show you this stuff so you can literally see what is behind these moves. They drop fast when that gamma flips on you. When the option market goes, I think we're going to sell, and I'll show you that. It's called profit taking. All right, these people were up huge. I think I said it in yesterday's video, right? I said when this goes red, when they finally start profit taking on these high flying stocks, where's the money going to go? Watch out for these stocks, that kind of stuff. And so we're going to get all that for you guys. Also show you why, yes, as I told the members in the morning news brief, watch and see if dips get bought up and how fast they get bought up. Now, I'm not going to go on the SPY chart because I have a couple things I want to cover today, which are very important for you to see here. But on the SPY, 595 is key. All right, there's a very important anchored VWAP right there that comes from the election day. It bounced, got a really nice recovery off that anchored VWAP. If that fails, okay, if we continue to push down, there's another trend line moving up with some support. Watch around like 590, 591 to hold, okay? But again, when you move this fast, and I think we all agree, right? Since the election, that was unbelievable. It had to be one of the biggest moves in that short a span after an election. I think it's the biggest move ever after an election, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's what I read. And so, that's going to happen. People are going to take profit, especially if you're in options, okay, which they were up enormous, okay? And of course, we got the rotation we thought we would get when that happened, which I'll show you. But I'm going to show you one thing to start looking out for. As I told members, look for these certain kind of stocks because you're going to see money most likely rotate into them if they're worth anything, okay? That's a big one. And also this right here. Two things real quick, and then we'll get into the charts. Understand how big a year this has been for the SPY, okay, the S&P. It ranks number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're at number 7 right now for all-time highs, right around 50. That's the top one. Look at that one. That was 1995, like 78 new all-time highs. But look at this. Here's 2021, number 2. We knew it was a crazy year, right? 70 all-time highs that year. All right. So we still got, 6, 7 weeks left here. So we continue to make some new all-time highs, right? But when you look at it, we're not even in the crazy round. People think we are. But when you look at this, like certain things, NAIM number, right? This is the exposure. These managers, try to put their people in and everything. And when you look at this, the portfolios, that is, normally when you get up to like 95 to 100, that's when you get really decent pullbacks, right? Well, we're only at like 88 right now. So it's not that crazy. You look at the fear and greed indexes I like to track. We're at greed, but we're not at extreme greed yet. You look at the other one, right? We're not extreme greed on that one either. And this is one that tracks uptrends and that are above their 6-month EMA, right? This one you get between 75, 85, somewhere in there. You get a decent pullback, but none of them are that way. And the reason why it seems like we're there is because it's the lower weighted stocks that have been going berserk, right? Not the heavyweights. I showed you yesterday, Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, all of them kind of just sitting there, right? Just kind of ranging since the election. It's the high flying stuff that has no weights in the indexes that's been just going absolutely berserk, all right? And crazy movements. And congratulations, by the way, if you've been in any of those moves. I'm very happy for you, by the way. Always love to see people make money. Now, as I told you yesterday, when you see the high flyers, the upstarts, the affirms, right, start selling down and people start taking profits, doesn't mean it's not worth a dang, right? People are just taking profits. When you see your cryptos, which have been mooning, okay, for like 5 straight days now, and Bitcoin made a nice recovery there. We'll see if it can get over 90K and stay. But when you look at that, and then also you see what happens, Tesla starts to sell down, which 5 to 6% on a drop is a lot, right? But again, it was up huge. We'll look at the chart. Where's the money going to go? It's going to go into the safe stuff. It's going to go to your Microsoft, your Apples, your Nvidias, your Googles, your Metas, your Amazon. Doesn't mean that's going to have to continue, but that's usually what happens, okay? Because they know that high flying, gamma squeezes are going to stop, okay? And these are the safe havens, which can still move up, which still have a lot of growth to them, that kind of stuff, all right? They're not going to get the returns that the high flyers get. And you can see, down 8% there at one point in time, did get a decent bounce, but what happened was simple. As quant data says, profit takers appear to have stopped in on Tesla with over 47 million plus in calls sold today. Right? And you can see that's the calls. When calls selling started rolling in, that right there is Tesla. Boom, down we go. All right, look right here. This is the bounce. Call buying started coming back up. What Tesla do? Started going back up. Got a bounce. Okay, and the market started to bounce too. All right, so when you look at that, you go, yeah, and guess what? It filled a gap. That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. Remember, it was up 43% in 5 days. Let me say that again. 43% in 5 days for a $1 trillion company here. Okay, this isn't some freaking IWM stock. Okay, keep that in mind. And when you also look at this, by the way, how crazy this got, this is the weekly expected move. This box right here, I finally put this in because now we finally got some normalcy here. So it's just in the weekly expected move. It came back in. But here's what's crazy. In the monthly expected move for November, the monthly expected move now, the options market had 280 as the top. If it went totally berserker, to around 315, excuse me, was going to be the top, right? Look how far up it got. Like the options market was totally wrong. It's like, oh my goodness. You know, it just went crazy. That's what happened. So now you're finally getting some normalcy. It's starting to pull back in. We'll see if it's going to finish here or not. Are they going to start pushing this thing right back up? That's what we got to see. And when you're looking at, you know, the levels and stuff, the safe levels here, obviously you just filled a gap. But if it continues to come down, you know, you're looking right around 299, 300 for the safe level to look at as far as a bounce. But before that, you know, you can clearly see here's a trend line here we broke past or broke right through, which may be resistance. But if it moves back up, we'll see. Like the big question is this going to be a lower low put in before a higher high, right? Or are we going to get rejected off of some of these levels, maybe in this trend line, and all of a sudden it comes on lower and low on these lower time frames? That's what you want to see. All right, that's what we got to figure out. It's still early. I mean, we just came down today, right? So you got to see how this is going to play out. You got to see how the options market. Man, Tesla ain't moving without the options market. Never has, never will. Okay, that's just the way it's going to be. And so follow the options market on this one. Follow the flows. But again, 298.62 to around 300 is the safest place. Right there is that level right there. If it comes down, continues to come down. And then, of course, another one right above that, not the safest place to play a bounce, but right there, that line around 316, 317, somewhere in there will be another thing to look at, another level. If we get a bounce right there, if it continues to come down, that is, okay. And, of course, up above, you can see, right, if it breaks through that trend line and we start heading back up to 363, okay, that's as simple as that. Now, as money flowed out of Tesla, it flowed into Nvidia. It was up about 3% at one time today. And the biggest thing about Nvidia is we don't know if SPY is going to have a small little pullback, right? Or it's going to be something even big. We don't know just because we moved up big, right? Normally expect these pullbacks to get bought up, but that trend line, those areas we talked about, 144, 146, like that is, you know, lines of support. Also, it's above the 5-day moving average currently, but that 21, which it's above, right, is key. And the 21 goes right into that horizontal support at 140.42, along with that trend line support. So that's a lot of influence right there in that area. If this decides to come down pre-earnings, which is going to come up, I believe, on the 20th right there. And looking at this right here, if it decides, okay, we're going to continue to move up, maybe Tesla just goes sideways, and all of a sudden the option market goes, boy, we love Nvidia right now. Let's try to push this up. I'll show you why that could happen. Right here's your levels. Okay, we'll bring our fibs in here, 155, 159, 161, right? Now, why could this move up before earnings? And it's because this right here, if you look, as I put on the Patreon here for the group here, look at the last 4 earnings. You can go back even farther than this. I just took the last 4. They all show basically the same thing. They love to run it up into earnings. Love to run it up into earnings, right? And so that's what we got to see. We got to see if they're going to try to run it up into earnings or not. All right, they may not. They may just consolidate like you saw right there. They ran up, consolidated, ran up, consolidated. So we'll see. That's what we got to find out if they're going to do that. And you'll know it pretty fast, okay? But 150 is the key. If it breaks 150, expect this to move higher. That's kind of the key level. Shot we had talked about way back here, and boom, explosion. Let me know if you were any calls or shares on that one. I know I was. And so that's why that exploded off earnings. And the reason why, to show you, like, if you're wondering like why I kept talking about this one, is that I think this is definitely going to move. It was the setup, right? When you look at Amazon, first I looked at Amazon, right? And I said, oh, wow, it gave good earnings, really good earnings, right? And they sold it down, but then look at the pop. Because never really talk about, like, or never really pay attention to what the real earnings move was. It's what happens right after it. Just explosion up there, right? Now, of course, if we'll talk about Amazon in just a minute. Let me stop where I'm going to say that. But let me go back to shop here real quick. And you can see we had that going on. So I saw that, right? Because, again, they're in e-commerce. The gap right there. And then remember, this stock has been destroyed. Look at this right here. Look how fast it came down. So I knew resistance was going to be very little until you got up So around the 110, 112 area. This could go as high as 120. We'll have to see. He's getting a pullback today after, I mean, he's up over, what was it? Was it like 20%, 22% or something? Some crazy mess. And so that's why you could see this one being set up. Doesn't mean it had to explode, but it just had all the things going for it. And why did it stop? Because, you know, I love my trend lines. You can see right here. So it's got to get through this trend line here first, or just grind up on it if it comes up higher to keep moving. So that's kind of a key right there. If you're looking like where can this go and stuff. And again, just because something gaps up, as you've seen many times, don't mean it has to come back down. Okay, I think it depends more on what's going on with the market. So if SPY continues to go sideways or up, this should, if SPY does pull back past 595, then, you know, whole different story, okay? And speaking of Amazon, if Jeff Bezos stops selling, those are your next levels. 214, 225, 224, 225 is what I've been looking for if he stops selling, because he's been selling just billions and billions of dollars worth, right, to pay for his space company and stuff. And that leads me into something I want you to start looking out for and put in the comments if you got anything like this, okay? I'm going to start making a list. Because what you'll see here, especially if we keep going into 2025, especially that last push up, is stocks that are in stage 1 and are behind, okay? And you see Square clearly. This is a stage 1, right? Explodes into stage 2, stage 3 at the top, stage 4 is the crash. You can clearly see that is identical, right? Now, I'm not saying it's going way up there to 280 at all. What I'm saying is that is a stage 1, and it's coming and it's trying to break out again. It's had multiple failed attempts. You can see 3 of them right there. But it's starting to try to come up there. Prime example, what's the difference between this one and all the other fintechs? This right here, right? SoFi has clearly broken out into its stage 2. It had multiple failed attempts, but it broke out. And I use this moving average, I think it's Stanley Weinstein or whatever it is. It's an indicator using TradingView to kind of show you this. I believe it's a 34-week moving average or whatever it is. But just use the visual here. Look at PayPal, okay? You can see obviously it was in stage 1. It's had its stage 2 breakout. And so stage 2 is where you make the big bucks, by the way. Stage 1 is where you consolidate and start buying and purchasing DCA if you want to. But you can see many failed attempts. People go, oh, this is it. It's going to break out. It's going to break out. And finally it broke out. And you can see when they do break out in stage 2, that's when money really starts to flow in behind it. Okay. Affirm and Upstart are a little different. I mean, they haven't been around that long. But you can see at the bottom, I mean, that's a stage 1, right? And then, of course, this thing is up huge. And these are the two that move really hardcore. I mean, I'm talking about 100% in a matter of like a month, a week, whatever. You can see Upstart right there, same thing. This move right here, by the way, when we thought it was breaking out of stage 1, this is like, I think it's 100% right here, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 102% in 56 days. That's nuts. That is absolutely nuts. All right. But, you know, you can see right here, it came back down, fell, and then boom, now you're getting this big breakout, okay, on some earnings right there. And that's just been an insane move. But Square is behind in fintech, right? It hasn't had that move. And so now it's trying to break out. And so watch it for the breakout. You don't have to front run anything on this. And what I mean when it comes to front running, when you look at some of these others, right? Right here, this is Robinhood, right? That's clearly a stage 1. You can see how powerful the breakout is. And what you really want to see is the breakout and retest, okay? You look at this right here, it broke out. It came down right there, retest that level and exploded higher, all right? And again, these don't have to be great companies to do it. We all know fundamentals are not what moves these companies, okay? I mean, I'm probably the only one that ever says that stuff, and people get mad about it, but it's just true, right? They'll try to coax the earnings, go, this is great, that's great, whatever. Carvana, this is probably the biggest one. And again, if you've been on this ride, congratulations to you. I have not been. I thought this company was going to go bankrupt for sure. But, you know, when you look at that, when this thing broke out, these are one of these low float stocks, right? Oh, boy. I mean, this is the biggest breakout in a long time. I mean, my goodness, they go like a small crypto or something to rival this thing. But what is it? I think it's like 1,300%. Yeah, 1,300%. Wow. That is incredible. You know, you look at Rivian. This is a prime example of why you don't front run these. Rivian has caused so much heartache for so many people. When you look at this one, you know, you can clearly see it has not broke out. You know, it's barely even, I don't even think it's established what a stage 1 is. Look, it's still down 95% on this crazy bull run. But you can look at that and go, I can draw a trend line on this. Yep, definitely. You know, it's below that moving average. And when you look at the trend line, the reason why you don't want to front run this is because these are huge moves. They just don't look like huge moves. This is a weekly chart. But when you look at this, so many times people are like, okay, cool, it's going to bust out of stage 1. We've moved over the moving average, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to get in on this. And when they go up, they're like, oh, man, I'm a genius. I'm up. This is great. And then they end up getting just nothing but heartache, right? I mean, when you look at these percentages right here, let me come back over here and show you what I'm talking about. And like, yes, woohoo, I'm up 60%, 35 days. Oh my goodness. Now I'm down 53%. Wonderful. Hope it comes back. Oh, look, it moved up again. This is great. We're busting out of stage one. Oh, I'm up 85%. Oh, no, I'm down. And so just wait. Be patient about it. There's no reason to front run it, right? If you want DCN, that's fine. You can do that. But just wait for it to break out. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. It just doesn't do it. You know what I'm saying? And so hopefully that all makes sense. Let me know if it doesn't. But that is a powerful thing, breaking out of stage one into stage two. Now, looking at earnings tomorrow, and I apologize. Yesterday I totally put the wrong earnings on you guys. I was a day ahead. I don't know what I was thinking. But tomorrow you will get your crypto miners, Hut 8, Hive reporting, as you can see right there. And then we will have Cisco in the afternoon. And then when it comes to data, this is the big one, right? Core CPI and then regular CPI month over month, year over year. So that should affect the markets in the morning one way or another. We'll see if it comes in hot or cold and how the market wants to digest it. Remember, they just use the news to move the market where they want to move it in the first place. Okay, so hope you guys got some out of it. Let me know in the comments. Please hit the like and subscribe button on the way out as usual. Think about signing up for the membership. Less than McDonald's combo. That is everything you get with it. And I will see you guys tomorrow for another fun day.